Welcome, Dr. Fine, there from Los Angeles. From Brooklyn to Los Angeles to a life of being this thing called a healer.
Thank you.
You know, I grew up in Long Island, and I got really interested in nutrition, and changed my diet, and I did a lot of things early on, and then I started to think about, or became aware that there was something bigger than just eating differently.
Well, you know, no matter how much food you eat, no matter how healthy it is, it depends upon one's outlook, how they feel about life, how they treat people, how they relate on how others treat them. And diseases come in many different forms, many different ways. You can eat very healthy. You can have the finest water. You can work out. But it depends upon what's in your mind, because most diseases do start in the mind. The energies, if they're negative, have to be controlled. And this is where the healing comes in. You see, when we are born, when we come down, and this is how I feel and how I look at it, my philosophy. We come down from the Maker in love and respect, joined together with all our brothers and sisters around the world in love and respect. If we can carry that on through our lives, we are healthy. It's when we don't that the diseases start. And the healings work on that little spark of God within each of us, the I am within each of us, that we have to heal. And that helps us in relation to the Maker. So it all depends upon our thoughts and how we handle ourselves.
If people knew you, they would know that you've worked with people with all kinds of conditions that would be considered incurable, or that people had death sentences, or that they wouldn't gain access to certain movement again. When someone comes to see you, Dr. Fine, what do you sense and tune into doing what you do and working with people, by the way, around the world, which I know you do?
Well, energy, it doesn't matter whether a person comes and speaks with me directly, face-to-face, or on the phone. Even without a phone, it's all energy. It's how I read the aura. A case in point, a few years back, I had a woman come to me who was 6 feet tall and weighed less than 100 pounds. Her mother had to carry her in. She was a missionary and picked up radiation poisoning in Rwanda from the mines. As I was working with her, I asked her, what did you do to help yourself? And she says, I went to the medical doctors here that were specialists in radiation poisoning. And at the time, there was only one. But there was nothing he could do. And I started to work with her. And lo and behold, I literally came off the sofa about 3-4 inches. The energy was so strong. I knew she was healed. And this was after around 6 or 8 treatments. Then she left, and she went back to being a missionary. And I heard from her months later in Nepal, but she didn't have a phone. She emailed me. And she said, I'm ready to climb a mountain. However, I can only go to the first level, and at that first level, they have photographers there that will take pictures. But I hurt myself. Can you help me? And I just leaned back in my chair and did a healing by raising my hands and asking for the energy to come down from above through to me to her in Nepal. I got an email the next day. I'm 90% better. Could you please do the other 10? Because I really want to climb the mountain. And I laughed, and I put my hands back, and I said, okay. And the next day she says, I'm 100% better. Now I'm going to climb this first level. And I thought that was very nice. So in other words, I didn't need a phone. It didn't matter. And I had no idea what time it was in Nepal, but it doesn't matter. This is God's work, divine work, and that's what I put out. I can, as with having a science background, read the person's aura, know some of the things that are wrong, but that really doesn't need to be. Some of the finest healings I've had, and a case in point, was in Belgium, where I healed 500 people in a church, and they all spoke Flemish. This is many years ago. I didn't speak a word of Flemish. I spoke some French, smattering, but that was about it. One doesn't need to speak. It's God's work. I let go and I let God do the work. And I'm very much into that. And the healing touches. It comes from the divine, through me, to the spark of God that's within each of us. And the healings begin. And I reconnect the body with this spirit that we have. And as we go along, I have noticed that the people stop making judgments. It's judgments that get us all into trouble, negative judgments. I don't care, there are different judgments. I personally like a 4-door car over a 2-door. I don't like black, I don't like white, I like colored cars. Yellow, green, blue. These are fine judgments. I like Cantonese Chinese. I may not like another style of Chinese food. That's okay. These are minor judgments we make as we go along in life. But when we make judgments as to, I don't like the person's color, I don't like their religion, I don't like their language, that this is wrong. These are negative judgments. And this is what affects us. So when I work with people, I ask the divine to please let these judgments go, and they do. When they let these negative judgments go, the bad judgments, so to speak, the dark judgments, then they start getting better.